Hello and welcome back to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. I'm Karla Rivera. I'll be your host for today, and today I have Rod Moser with me. Rod is well known in our industry. He has decades of experience. He is known not only for his training and coaching, but for getting success for his clients and agents alike. He has seen all the diverse markets and is heavily involved. Also, Spanish speaking. And so today I'm excited to get into this journey of yours, Rod. I want to learn about what keeps you successful and what you see happening in the future of real estate. So let's get into it. Tell me about what got you attracted to this industry in the first place.
Wow, it's been a few years, and I'm getting older, so some of it's getting a little fuzzy. But I started in real estate in about 2006, and I had been in mortgages for quite a few years prior to that. In fact, I was, I think, one of the first licensed PLMs in the state of Utah.
Oh, wow.
But it always, yeah, go ahead. Sir.
No, and already I know you did roles prior to real estate and coaching and leadership as well, right?
Been in and around the business for a while, and mortgages to me always felt like there wasn't as much of an opportunity to impact at a personal level. It was a lot more paperwork. It was a lot more behind the scenes, but I really enjoy working with people and having an impact on people's lives. So I made a decision back then to jump into real estate and kind of step away from mortgages. And I moved from Oklahoma City to Logan. And I didn't know anybody. I had a couple of family members there and had to basically start from scratch, which was interesting. But within a couple of years, had a lot of success, was one of the top handful of real estate agents in the community and selling close to 100 homes a year. And then I started to get known in other circles and got opportunities outside of Logan. So
Yeah, that's incredible though. 100 homes a year, just
in a small community like that, it was a big deal. It felt like a lot of work.
So tell me a little bit about the first few years. I know we've had this conversation and some of the motivations and competition that you had.
Yeah, for sure. So
sorry.
Yeah. So my current spouse, Melody, was one of my top competitors in the market, and we would always go and compete against each other. And I would joke there was a lot of reasons why people would hire Melody over me. She was a lot better looking than I was, but after competing for a long time, I decided the best strategy would be to join her as a partner. So yeah, for sure. So that's how that worked. And we've been together ever since. It's been fantastic. She introduced me to a lot of coaching programs, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, a lot of those guys, and started to get invited to speak for different mastermind groups on my main source of business back then, and continues to be, has been for sub-owner prospecting and expired prospecting. And so got invited to talk to a lot of people about that, and then eventually got invited into their circles some more. So it was fun.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Joining forces and still breaking records.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so early in your career, I know you started in a small town, but what would you say was one of your biggest challenges?
Yeah, at the beginning, I think the biggest challenge I had in Logan in particular was that as an outsider, I didn't have a lot of influence or a lot of relationships. And so I was competing with real estate agents that have been in the game for a very, very long time. What motivated me at the time was I would go out and talk to people, and I was primarily talking to people that were selling their houses on their own, and they had relationships with agents and they had relationships with people in the business, but they didn't want to use them. And the more I dug into that, the more I realized that people were relying on relationships and not customer service, and really had to take care of their clients at a high level. And that's why I was able to get into the door. And so anyways, that was the beginning, drive. But, and then when you get into circles, you start to compete and competitive and like to win. And so then you just start to, find different ways to sell houses and help more people.
So tell me, what were some of the unique ways that you found to sell homes? Yeah. And I know you focused on the for sale by owners, which is one of the harder markets, in my opinion. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was interesting because they wanted the help. Most people look, selling real estate can be torturous, and nobody wants to go through the contracts and go through the hassle of selling your home. if there's a better option. And most people didn't realize that it was actually, when you sell your home on your own, and I learned this, so I'll go back a little ways and I apologize for stuttering, but I was in Oklahoma City. I got an opportunity to move back to Salt Lake, and as a member of the Mormon Church at the time, I would go out to parties all the time, and unfortunately, everybody was drinking alcohol, which made it really uncomfortable for me. So we realized pretty quick that if we were going to have an environment where we were comfortable, we were going to have to do it at our house, or we were going to have to run it.
Oh yeah.
So we started to bring people over, and I was managing a financial office at the time, and we brought everybody over to our house, and we were getting ready to move back. And I didn't realize it, but one of my employees' husbands was a real estate agent. We were sitting on the couch talking, and she says, "Well, you're getting ready to sell your house, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Are you going to hire somebody? You're going to do it on your own?" And I said, "We're planning on doing it on our own. We've done the research, we've looked." This was 20 years ago, but $150,000 home is going to cost me $9,000 to hire a real estate agent. And I was like, look, I can advertise it. I can get it out there. I can do everything, and I can fill out the paperwork. It's not that complicated, and I can save the $9,000. And we got all done with the party, and everybody's leaving, and they were kind of lingering. Yeah. And they met me at the door, and he said, "Rod, apologize for, kind of eavesdropping, but I overheard you talking about selling your house on your own." And he goes, "You know me, man, so don't get upset, but I think you're an idiot."
Oh, he called you out very directly.
At my house, in my front door. And I was like, I laughed, and he laughed, and I said, "What don't I know?" And he said, "Rod," he goes, "you're going to do 100% of the work. You're going to, pay for all the marketing. You're going to handle the negotiations. You're going to do all of that. And you're going to pay 100% of the fee." And I said, "Well, I don't understand. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, there's three types of buyers, Rod. There's first-time home buyers, there's veterans that have bought, sold homes before, and then there's investors." Well, a first-time home buyer drives around, doesn't take long before they call on a sign, and they realize that, to work with a real estate agent doesn't really cost them anything. That most of the time the sellers are willing to pay that fee. And so he said most of them are going to be working with a real estate agent. Veterans know that it costs 6% to sell a home. And so if they're going to specifically hunt out a for sale by owner, they're going to want to save the money as well. And so they're going to come in and they're going to offer 6% less for your house and then negotiate down from there. Investors know the market better than most real estate agents. If an investor buys your home, it's primarily because they're still in your equity, right? They know that they can pick it up at a better value and make money on your home. And so at the end of the day, if you do sell it on your own, you're likely going to sell it for less. And I thought about that for a long time. And that's really what sparked me getting into the industry, as I started to go, you know what, he's absolutely right. And so I've been on a crusade ever since to help people from themselves, right? To help them make a better decision, to hire a professional, have them do the work, have them really expose it to the market, and walk away with even a bigger paycheck.
Okay, I didn't know this. Have you shared this story with clients? Yeah,
with clients.
Like, hey, I get it, right? Yeah. I was in your shoes and thinking the same thing.
I agree with you. If I were in your shoes, I'd do the same thing, right? But there is a better way. We just have to help people understand it. And, people are going to make the best decisions based on the information that they have. And we just have to give them better information.
Okay, well, I like that. So it sounds like you had coaching even before you got into it without knowing.
I've been in sales most of my life, right? I love it. I like influencing people to help them live better lives, and I think that's part of what we do, right? It's to help people have a better experience.
Well, that's a great word to use, is that we influence people in this industry, for sure.
We just got to figure out how to make it better, right? Every day we wake up and we're like, how can I make it a better experience for the people that choose to work with me?
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more on maybe a difficult time where you had a setback and how that affected the whole
great question.
Yeah, early in your years. I'm sure there's no setbacks now, ever.
Well, if you're looking at the clock, so I got into the business in about 2006, and the real estate world fell apart, along with a lot of people's worlds fell apart a couple of years later. And I remember I was carrying like 60 listings at the time, and we were selling maybe 6 or 7 a month. And
oh, wow.
Tough conversations every month with sellers who were really needing to sell their houses, and there weren't that many buyers. And frustration with the market. And so, I remember getting a few phone calls one day, and the last phone call I got, somebody was really upset, and why didn't we get feedback and all this stuff. And then right after that call from the seller, I got a call from a buddy of mine who said, "Hey, you ever think about selling something other than houses?" And I was like, "Tell me more." And he says, "Let's go sell security systems and solar panels in Hawaii for a year."
Wow.
And I walked away from my entire portfolio of 60 listings and went to Hawaii and sold, solar panels for a living. I was going through divorce. There was a lot of stuff going on, and depression, and, a lot. And it was a way for me to kind of escape and, get away from all the challenges. So
a hard reset.
Yeah, back then it was probably one of the most influential times for me because I was really able to get away from the noise and get into a really quiet, special place, which Hawaii is, and really start to think about the direction of my life, the direction of my career, everything that I really wanted. And it allowed me to really focus on part of the reason I was going through divorce is because I was selling a lot of houses and I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And I was working to be important to people that really didn't matter. At the end of the day, I realized at that time that the reason we go to work is not to impress or take care of other people, it's to take care of the people that matter most, which is your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
So that was for me
sounds like
a massive
a big lesson. Yeah.
A massive reset. And it got me clear. I was able to get myself in a lot better place. That's when I came to Salt Lake and started to sell down here.
Nice. Okay. And I know you've built a really great reputation. So what would you say your clients value most about the connections that you're making or the customer service you're providing?
Yeah, I think, the most important aspect, I think, when you're looking for a real estate agent is what can you bring of value to the table? Anybody can put my home on the multiple listing service. Anybody, to get your real estate license, it's literally a 3-week course. It's a 120-hour course. You take a multiple choice test, you pass it 70% or better, you pay a token fee to a couple associations, and they turn you loose on society to help people. Wow, it's the biggest asset. Yeah. And so a lot of people, unfortunately, have had a bad experience with real estate agents. So as an agent, I think the most important thing to ask yourself is, how can I create value for my clients? How can I make their experience better? And what differentiates me from my competition? So there are a few things that we've been able to put together. And I think, my dad was a math teacher, so I'm a little broken. I'm a numbers guy and I dig into the numbers a lot. So I think I bring that to the table.
Yeah.
And yes, everybody cares about their clients, but I think the care, along with the care comes my dedication and commitment to constant learning. How can I wake up today and be better than I was yesterday?
Yeah, that's a high value add for sure.
For somebody. Yeah. If somebody's gonna bring you to the table and pay you a big paycheck to help them sell their biggest asset, I better be worthy and prepared to do that. Right. So
cool. So it sounds like you have never stopped learning. And that's great.
I forget more than I learn, unfortunately, as age gets us, but it is something, right? Like we're focusing a lot on the new technology, the AI programs, creating GPTs, becoming more efficient so that we can spend more time building relationships and take care of the clients.
I love that. Okay. And I know that you've been able to train countless of agents. So what's something that you find yourself repeating? Like, okay, this is, again, we're going to go over this. And why is it important?
Yeah, super good question. So there's a couple of things that I think I tend to hit on a lot. Both, when I was coaching for Tom Ferry and John Sheplack and coaching top teams and agents across the country, most of the time, what I was spending time working on was budgeting. Making sure that they were approaching their business. When you ask a real estate agent, how much money did you make last year? You get a big number. It's usually a pretty big number, but what you're not. Yeah, exactly. It's either that or how much of that did you actually get to keep and how much went back into the business, and making sure that we talk about a budget, I think, is critically important. It was something that nobody talked to me about when I got in. And unfortunately, I had some challenges with the tax man, because I wasn't prepared. So that's one. The other thing is, you have to hunt for new business every single day. You've got to be able to have as many conversations. In Logan, I moved into an area I didn't know anybody, and I had a coach at the time. It was Mike Ferry. He's a great guy, and he told me, he said, Rod, you've got to, don't end a day in real estate until you've had 30 conversations. So I used to put 30 little beads in my right pocket in the morning. And every time I had a conversation with somebody, I'd move one of those beads from my right pocket to my left pocket, and I wouldn't quit working until I finished clearing my pocket with beads. So I would be at the gas station. Hey, my name is Rod. Don't recognize you. Do you live around here? Do you rent or do you own? It was just a constant conversation, and within 3 years, I'm selling 100 homes, and I'd never done it before. And I think that's something that continues to come up.
But you had to do this every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
wow.
Today I think a lot of people are standing behind a camera and doing Instagram reels and all those things, but they're not actually having those conversations face to face, kneecap to kneecap with somebody that has the ability to sign a contract, to buy and sell real estate.
Well, and that human connection is always going to be needed because it is unique.
It's important to be a consultant, to have conversations, to treat your customers as customers and not as clients, and really, figure out what it is that they want and how you can make that easier for them. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Okay. So to kind of bring it back, you're repeating those daily routines to be able to be successful. And how do you teach that to the people that you're mentoring?
Yeah, so with our...
didn't mean to cut you off, but not everyone is going to connect with the bead idea, right? No. So what are some other strategies that you've shared so that they do stay consistent, where that sounds like that's the lesson that you're wanting to really implement for them?
Yeah, so approach your business as if you are the CEO and not an employee, right? So if everything depended on you, which it does in our field, what is it that you have to do? So with our group right now, for example, we have a 7:25 a.m. Accountability call, and it's really just number tracking. Yeah. We jump on the phone. It's 5 minutes. It doesn't take long, but we report what we did yesterday. And what I always tell them is,
that's an early start, not like crazy, but it is early.
It's reasonably early, and for some of our people, it's before the kids get up and sort of are able to have a few minutes of quiet time. For others, it's, hey, before I jump into my prospecting or whatever it is that I'm doing today, I want to make sure that I get this done. But what we're emphasizing is, even if you didn't talk to anybody yesterday, you jump on the phone and you report your numbers, because what we want to do is, it's not a time to judge. This is your business. What we're really doing is, I need to know the data so that I can figure out where you're struggling, so that I can figure out what we can teach you, what we can train you, what we can coach you on to help you improve from where you're at today. And if the numbers aren't honest, or if you're not telling the truth, it's impossible for me to know what's not working and what's working. So it's okay to be 100% honest, right? And then we have a pretty strict. It's not strict, but it's a structured schedule.
I like that. It's structured, strict. Yeah, good. Okay, so the morning check-ins sound like it's a pretty crucial part of your day.
For us, it's a way to connect. We've got some other, little tech tools that we use to stay in touch with each other and celebrate each other. But that's an important start, and it really is. It's just, let's get started together. Let's make sure that we're all pushing the same direction, and so I think that's I think that's important. I think it helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as building longevity with, yes, your clients, but also the agents that you're mentoring, what are some of the things that you're doing?
So I approach my agents the same as I approach my clients. Like, how can I make their lives better and easier every single day? Like, what can I take off your plate to allow you to focus on building relationships with your clients as well? And again, having a system in place and having a structure, and Melody does an amazing job at all of this. I suck at it. There's things I totally suck at. Are good partners. Yeah, exactly. Business. Oh yeah. I'm a mess. She helps keep everything structured, but it really is. It's like, okay, let's figure out how to have a couple of events a year. Let's make sure that we're on the phone, 4 times a year with our clients. And it's not calling up and saying, hey, are you ready to buy or sell a house? It's calling them up and asking about their family, asking about their kids, their job, checking in, making sure that they're okay, making sure that they don't have any questions. If there is something they need work on or help on, or if they've got questions about the furnace, we've got people we can connect them with.
So
And
you
so it really
stay
just
connected and
yeah.
resourceful. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And having a remote office is a little bit of a challenge, which is why we use the technology to, we use Blink to be able to communicate back and forth and keep our TC in the loop on every transaction and make sure that we're celebrating and have an opportunity to ask me questions. And so even though we're not in a building four walls, we're still a community.
Yeah. I love that. And so that goes for the agents that you're also training.
Yep, for sure.
You're still having those calls in the morning and
Every
staying
day.
connected. Yeah.
Yep,
I love it. So cool. I mean, I've noticed in most successful people, whether it's in our industry or not, consistency is one of the biggest keys for success. And it sounds like you really dialed that in.
Well, it takes the stress away, right? Like if you wake up every day and you're not sure what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to do it, that creates a lot of stress, and we want to take
Oh
that
my
away.
gosh,
So
that's
yes,
funny that you said that. That was one of my questions. I was like, okay, so when it comes to real estate, it is high stress. So what are you doing to keep the stress low and regulate?
boy, I mean, obviously there's a lot that you can do, and I think it's
Yeah.
important to take breaks. One of the things that Melody and I do is we travel a lot. We enjoy it. We like to explore. We like to get out of our community and see the rest of the world. And so for us, we keep the mantra of always be vacationing. We've either, meaning every day I go to work so that I have a fun place to go when I get all done. And yeah, there's a lot of work and yeah, there's a lot of stress, but part of the reason people hire us as agents is to help take away some of that tension, and when we become super emotional or super attached to whether it's the closing or the paycheck or whatever else, we start to get emotional, and that can derail the transaction really fast. And so just keeping it even, people sometimes are afraid of the rejection, but I'm always like, look, before you called them and asked them if they wanted to work with you, they weren't working with you to begin with. You didn't lose anything, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's true. You're
you,
going to be where you started.
yeah, you haven't lost anything. So stop feeling like you
Yeah,
lost something. Go have a conversation. If they say no, you're no worse off than you were 5 minutes before.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of divorces.
Jeez.
Those are always
It's hard
challenging.
to,
Yep,
yeah,
those are
navigate
challenging.
in general. Can't imagine with the
Yeah,
real
but
estate.
it's really just make sure the communication is open, and you don't have to communicate all together, but make sure that everybody's in the loop on everything. And so yeah, there's lots of ways to reduce the emotion, and I think the more you're able to just reduce the emotion and take care of what needs taken care of and focus on the client's needs, the easier everything gets.
I like that. Okay, so then besides your professional goals, I know you and Melody are super locked in. Um, I tried to invite you guys to do some goal planning, but you did it last month. I'm like, oh, okay, you guys are really on your toes. But
Well,
so what? No, go ahead and then I'll
yeah,
ask.
so every September, we take a weekend and we go somewhere and we focus on our life plan. And we're like, okay, here's what our design was. How are we doing on our design? Do we need to tweak it? Do we need to adjust it? And it just kind of helps us focus to moving forward every year.
I love that. And
Um,
I'm assuming this goes beyond your professional goals
oh,
you're
yeah.
planning.
Yeah,
So,
this
what
is.
are maybe one goal you could share of your personal goals that you're super excited about for this coming year?
Oh, I can tell you what Melody's is. We've got a trip
Yes.
planned to Europe in April, so I know she's really geared towards that one.
What
But
part of Europe? Or are you
we're going
hitting
to
a few places?
Ireland. Yeah, we're going to Ireland and London, and anyway, so that'll be fun. That's going to be fun. Her ancestors are from there. I think it's been on her list for a long time, so that'll be fun. We're going with some good friends of ours.
I love it.
Outside of that, our big goals really are we're continuing to pick up investment properties and making sure that we're doing that the right way, making sure they cash flow, making sure we've got
Yes.
reserves, and making sure we find great tenants. So that's been a good
I
focus
love that. So,
recently. I think
thinking
there's,
more long term rental, it sounds like.
yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
We always approach it. Obviously, I mean, we don't need to get too deep into that, but you always want to have 6 months in reserves. You want to have a separate LLC set up. You want to make sure that you're not in a desperate situation to find a tenant, because that's a way to find a really bad tenant really fast. And so it's okay to leave the property vacant for a little while as long as you've got money in reserves instead of putting the wrong person in there, right? And there's a lot of opportunities right now. There's a lot of people that are struggling selling their homes, and there's opportunities to maybe pick them up as long as it's beneficial for everybody.
That's great. So, on that note, Have you been seeing homes sit longer, and what do you think is actually affecting that time?
Yeah, great question. So I was asked a couple of weeks ago to speak at Town Hall in Draper for our legislators and some constituents, and we talked about the affordability crisis. It's brutal, right?
Yeah.
We had uh, interest rates, mortgage rates artificially held low for a long period of time, which allowed a lot of people to buy properties. The demand spiked, the property value spiked, and then rates normalized. And
Mhm.
so today, I mean, I can tell you the numbers because I had to look at them all, but
But yeah, I like that they did normalize. They didn't
yeah,
rise
they normalize. This is where they should
ridiculous.
be. Interest rates have always been about 1.6 to 2% above the 10-year bond. And, it's interesting because I was even seeing, real estate agents yesterday talking about, oh boy, rates just dropped and everybody's going to come off the fence. But mortgage rates went up a quarter percent yesterday after the
Oh,
Fed dropped their rates. It has nothing to do with
yeah.
the Fed rate, right? And so there's a lot of confusion around that. But affordability has become such a problem. If we used to use 30% of your gross income would go towards housing, that was kind of the rule of thumb that we used for a long time
Okay.
for being able to afford a home. Today, that number is more like 47%. But at 30%, based on the number, on income levels in Salt Lake County, for example, 16% of our population would be able to afford a median priced home, which is around
Yeah.
$540,000, $550,000 at today's rates. So when 16% of the population could buy a home in our community, a median priced home, that locks a lot of people out of the real estate market.
That does.
So it's a big focus, right? And I know there's a lot of people looking at solutions, but that's something that we're really focused on right now is how to help with the affordability challenge that we have. And
Okay.
it's certainly not selling off our public lands for credit. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've seen more multifamily, like people coming together to purchase. Is that something you've experienced in the last couple of years?
100%, yeah. And when I look at it, people are saying we have a housing shortage, and I get that, but we're soon going to have a declining population. Our kids don't want to have kids because they can't afford it anymore. And so, as the boomers move on and as Generation X moves on, we're actually going to start to see fewer people in the market and not more. And so, if we start to backfill by building a ton of homes right now, it may become a problem where we've got a lot of vacant properties in the future. And that could be in the next 20, 25 years. The other solution would be to make it a little easier for ADUs,
Yeah.
make it by right instead of have some guardrails in place. Don't let it go completely off the rails. But I think there's a lot of things we can do to
To
create
offset some
additional
of those
housing.
payments. Yeah.
We've got big houses and smaller families, and I think we've got
True.
opportunities there.
Okay, I like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can see why you've been able to stay on board and ahead of the game because you're forward thinking. That's great.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to, I know you did sales prior to this, but what is something that with the knowledge you have today, if you could revisit yourself before you got into sales in general, that you would say?
Wow, that's a good question. I, you know, Sales impacts every aspect of our lives. I mean, I have to sell my wife on the fact that I'm a good guy and worth staying with every day of our marriage, right? Or else the marriage
That's how
starts
you
to
knew you
decline.
were a good
That's
salesman.
right. I
That
have
was
to,
a pivot.
yeah, I look at my kids and I have to convince them to continue to work hard, continue to grow, and continue to learn because there's a lot of distractions, whether it's video games or there's a million different things
Yeah,
that can go into that. So
temptations. They have access to so much now.
so many things. So every day I'm selling my kids. So when I look at it, I'm like, if I could go back, I think I would have been a lot more serious learner at the beginning, right?
Okay.
A lot of the, neurolinguistic programming was kind of gotten a bad rap because a lot of people look at it as a way to influence other people to do something that they want them to do. And I don't think that's the right approach. Neurolinguistic programming is really how to manage your own mind and
Mm,
be a better person than manage somebody else's mind because you don't belong there, right? And so
yeah.
I think I would have approached it and taken it more serious internally. And then, when I look at sales as like I'm trying to help somebody make a decision that I want them to make, that because they want to do it. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, like you're providing the options and the information, and then it's up to them to actually make the decision.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I understand what they really want, now I can help influence them to actually get what they want and take the actions necessary to get what they want, to make the decisions necessary to get what they want. Today, the biggest challenge that I have with sellers is oftentimes the expectation that they have for value on their home and what their home will really sell for in today's market. Well, my job is to help them get their home sold, which means I have to help them to understand that in today's market, pricing it appropriately for today and not yesterday is critical to getting their goal, right? So that's kind of the way I approach it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. And as we, kind of come to a closure, I do want to say that not only are you available for people that are wanting to buy, sell, or invest, but as a mentor, what are your goals there? Are you wanting to continue to teach other agents and grow, or where are you?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
The so my dad was a school teacher, and I've always felt like it's the most noble thing you can do in your life is to teach others and to help others have an even better life than you do, right? So it is something that I absolutely love to do. Like, I love to help others. I love to be able to pour into people. And if I've got something of value that I can give, absolutely. So yeah, reach out. Whether you're looking to change offices, I don't care. If I can help or if I can be a resource, and believe me, I'm going to ask you the same, because there's so many things I don't know that I need a lot of help from. But yeah, I would say, yes, we're still growing our team. Yes, we're still looking for like-minded individuals. And yeah, we're still helping as many people as we can, because I want to make sure they have a great experience with their real estate agents. And there's a lot of good people out there. They mean well. They want to do a good job for you. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't know how.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's something I think I've always really valued about you and Melody. I know she's not here with us right now, but you are true to your word and you're authentically caring for people. So,
Well, I appreciate that.
yes.
And yeah, I don't mean to offend you when we tell you no for lunches and stuff. It's always been because I want to
I'm
make
like,
sure.
you guys, let me pick your brain. You're both so amazing.
Well, I just never want to take advantage of anybody. I never want to, anyways, I want to make sure that there's something we can contribute. And the other thing is, when I used to, be the team leader, agents would come in once in a while. And it was funny because there wasn't one person in that office that was ever going to buy or sell a house from them, because they all had licenses. And so it's okay not to go into the office and not to spend time, with your peers, if you have the opportunity to be in front of a client that you can impact in a positive way. So
I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for
thank
doing
you.
this. Even though I know you, it's nice to hear how you are doing, and even just the little things from your daily routines, because that's what's helped keep you focused and successful. So I love that, and I'm sure everyone that will listen to this will appreciate you sharing those nuggets as well.
Well, thank you. It's fun to be here. And yeah, if I didn't have a structured schedule, I'd be a disaster. So it helps.
So yes, block out your time. At least take that away from today.
For sure.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Rod, and thank you guys listening. If you want to reach out to Rod, we're going to share all his contact information, but we will see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.